Waiting for justice, the heartbreaking murder of a 5-year-old girl and the car bombing of an attorney. Two high-profile cases in Monroe County, unsolved years later.
And the families in those cases have a common thread. They believe authorities know who did it, but they're not issuing charges.
Tonight's 7 investigator Jim Kurtzner has their reasons why.
Two cold cases and getting older. Two families frustrated with growing resentment.
Why can't they solve it? There's so many questions of why. I mean, was there something wrong? Did they do something wrong? Was there not enough evidence?
5-year-old Nevaeh Buchanan disappeared on Memorial Day weekend in 2009. She was last seen playing at this apartment complex where her mother lived. 7 years later, nobody here remembers the case. Her body was found almost 2 weeks later after she disappeared, encased in cement along the banks of the River Raisin. The autopsy showed she inhaled dust and dirt, indicating she'd been buried alive. Early on, 2 men were named as suspects, convicted sex offenders George Kennedy and Roy Smith, who were friends with the girl's mother. They were held on probation violations and then cleared. Smith is back living in the Monroe area with family. Kennedy is reported to be living in Toledo. The Monroe County Sheriff heading up the investigation will only say they now have a solid suspect who remains in prison on another case, but nothing more. The Justice for Nevaeh group and family are frustrated. They still offer a $50,000 reward, but also think they know who the killer might be.
I would never ask them to share information with me that would hurt the case, because then we would be doing no justice at all whatsoever.
This wasn't a random deal, you don't think?
I don't think it was random. I think somebody she knew did what they did.
What would be their motive?
We have a bad accident. My car blew up with 2 kids. They are bleeding. I need someone here now.
Eric Chappell and his 2 sons survived this rare car bombing. It happened 5 years ago next month.
It is frustrating. It's been a long time. You know, you get to the point where after a couple years pass and you start to wonder whether or not any charges are ever going to be brought.
And get this, on one of the bombing anniversaries, a stark reminder when his 2 daughters picked up the mail in front of their house.
There was a tube. There was a commercial explosive tube. She saw the words explosive and started to scream.
It did not explode. Surveillance video from the front of the house did not help solve it. While living in daily fear, this has driven one son, now 18, and entering the University of Michigan to set a high goal for his life.
I want to be a trauma surgeon. So I'm going to get an undergrad in biology and then go into medicine.
The feds investigating the car bombing did reveal it was a pipe bomb placed under the front passenger seat, and it was detonated with a toy remote car device. At the same time, Eric Chappell, an attorney, says he's named a prime suspect, a husband on the other side of a divorce case Chappell handled for the wife. He says that man had the means and motive. That strong physical and circumstantial evidence includes direct threats to him. You think this is a game? You are sadly mistaken. And in a text message that man wrote to his wife, Eric has broke me.
Are you saying you think the feds could make a case and they're not? I think they have a ton of evidence from what I understand.
And they're not.
Well, I don't understand, you know, what they feel is missing.
Officials in both cases say they remain open and active. Jim Kurtzner, 7 Action News.